We are back at the museum with VOA executive producer Beth Mendelson. Now, Beth, this JFK documentary with all its exclusive interviews and many details that some of us have never even heard about before, tell us how this came together.
Well, I'll tell you the nexus of how we started with this project. I had gotten a press release that they were going to have this special exhibit called Camelot and 3 Shots Were Fired. And at the time, I was coming up with documentary ideas, and I thought, well, with the 50th anniversary of the Kennedy assassination, wouldn't it be great to come and film here? And I knew some of the people at the museum, got in touch with them, and they started showing me some of the designs, and I said, well, that would be just great. And the other part of it is, I had run into somebody and mentioned I worked for Voice of America, and they said, well, I used to work for Robert Kennedy, and VOA, the old USIA, made a film called Years of Lightning, Day of Drums. And I went, I didn't know about that. And I went and found the film, and we found out we could get rights to it, and had incredible archival footage that we were really thrilled about being able to use. And we kind of feel like we're the baby of years, Years of Lightning, Day of Drums. We always have a little trouble with saying the name, but it was very exciting actually to have that footage.
Absolutely. And there were a number of people who worked on this project. It was very much a team effort. Anyone that you would like to highlight who also helped you and Jim?
Yes. Well, Jim Malone, as you know, did a wonderful job of hosting the program, and Jeff Schweikort was our editor and also produced the segment in Berlin, which I think is a uniquely VOA perspective. We wanted to talk about how important Berlin was in President Kennedy's foreign policy, and I think Jeff really captured the essence of why that was so important and such a departure point in the president's foreign policy positions.
Right. Now, there are a number of notable people in this documentary, JFK, A Legacy Remembered, one of which is CBS newsman Bob Schieffer, another Clint Hill, who was the Secret Service agent who climbed onto the president's car after he was shot. Now let's take a look at another excerpt of this film where these men talk about the many things that changed on that fateful day in Dallas.
The intensive coverage of the Kennedy assassination also signaled a major shift in the news business.
Up until that point, most people in America got their news from print, from newspapers. And from that weekend on, of course, it would be television.
50 years after the assassination, the memories of those who were there remain vivid.
Doesn't seem like 50 years have gone by, and I just feel like it's very current, and I feel some sadness because of what happened. I still have that slight sense of guilt and responsibility, failure.
Up until that point, we'd always thought of our presidents as being larger than life, almost invincible, and here this glamorous, vigorous young man cut down in the prime of his life by a madman. I think it caused all of us to, if nothing else, to understand the preciousness of life. It was the weekend that America lost its innocence, and the country has never been the same since that weekend in Dallas.
We are back with VOA executive producer Beth Mendelson. Beth, we just heard from former U.S. Secret Service agent Clint Hill. What was it like talking to him?
Well, you could hear a pin drop in the room. I mean, when he was recalling the events in Dallas, everybody, you could just feel the tension in the room. And I think for him, it was very emotional. It's the first time he had really come to the museum, and to see the background of the car as it was turning Dealey Plaza was, I think, very powerful for him to see that. The other thing was when we talked to Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, she walked into the exhibit and she saw a picture of JFK and all the nieces and nephews in a golf cart, and one of the children was her, and she became very emotional when she took a look at that. So this background really helped us get, I think, some very, very interesting interviews.
Absolutely. Very powerful accounts in this film. What is it that you hope viewers take away from it?
I hope that people who saw this, who weren't even born during the time of JFK, really understand the legacy of the 35th President of the United States and his impact on it in the world.
Absolutely. Well, Beth, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate all the hard work that you put into this project. VOA executive producer Beth Mendelson.